And we are live. We are on the air. So hello, everybody. I'm
Hello.
certainly happy that you guys could join us.
Me too.
And I know that we've hopefully all been looking forward to our little spring focus group. So I'm excited about it, and hopefully you guys are as well.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Excellent. So the first thing we're going to do, let's just start off with a couple of ground rules. So this way we can certainly get the most out of the focus group and we can stay focused because that's what it's all about. So the rules are basically that there are no rules. We're basically going to, over the course of the next, I don't know, 12 weeks or beyond, if we decide that we want to keep going, we're going to cover a lot of ground. We're going to cover everything we need to, but I want to keep it basically to an open forum, and I want to keep it to the point where basically if we have any challenges, anything that we want to go over, whether it's related to MLSP, you're all in MLSP, whether it's related to Gavin's programs or anything that might be related to, any challenges that you're having, we're just going to go over it. So we aren't going to really have a strict, agenda. We'll try to stick as close to whatever we can, and every week I'll send you what it is that I'd like to cover. Most of what we're going to do is probably going to focus around the training that Gavin offers, a six-step sponsoring sequence. Now, some of you have it. I know some of you don't, but there are certainly other areas, other things that we can do so we can go ahead and we can get you some good foundational training. So the first thing I want to do, which I think is important, I was hoping that we were going to have a few more people on today, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks, Tamara's going to be joining us, so hopefully we'll have a full crew, and we'll have at least 6 of us. So the first thing I want to do with the small little crew that we have here now is basically introductions, so we can basically get to know each other a little bit better. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with you, Deb, and I'm just going to ask you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you do online, what you do offline, and if there are any specific challenges that maybe you have that you'd like to go over. Most of us here already have or will be starting their own community. So if you have any questions or challenges about your community or anything else, that is something that we can certainly focus on also, we can talk about. Like I said, we can break from the agenda. We can talk about anything that you guys feel is important to discuss, any areas that maybe you feel that you have any questions that you want to explore a little bit more deeply. So Deb, you're on.
Okay, my name's Deborah Barden, and I live in Weirton, West Virginia. I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I work in the city of Pittsburgh. I'm a procurement administrator for EQT Corporation, which is it's a it's a gas company. We do drilling, we do fracking.
No, I can't hear you.
Um,
Sound.
and we I have 2 dogs. I have 2 adult children. I have 2 little grandchildren, and I am in MLSP. And I started my community, and the challenges I'm having in the community are getting more people joining. And I'm using Instagram a lot because when I'm at work, I can pop in there and put stuff on there. And I'm getting, a lot of interactions in there, but no one is actually coming into the community. I have like 13 or 14 people. Some of 2 of them are completely silent. A couple of them are completely silent. I don't know whether they're just watching or what they're doing. But that's the challenge I'm having is to have people actually come in the community. So I wanted to uh, work on all of that.
That's great, and we're definitely going to be able to do that. Was everybody able to hear Deb clearly?
Heard most of it.
Okay.
I couldn't hear.
I don't think they can hear.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, the sound quality wasn't great. What I might do the next time, I know Glenna had suggested another platform that maybe we can use as opposed to Google Hangouts. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you I can hear.
Okay. I mean, Deb, it just might be your microphone. But one of the things that we will be doing, certainly during all of our courses, all of our sessions together, we'll be discussing for those of us that do have communities that we're trying to build, is to go ahead and to find new ways to not only engage with people, but to provide feeder content to get people into our communities. So that's something it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a little bit of time. But with the time, the effort, and consistency, it's going to happen. And one of the great things about having a community is the fact that it's a great way to engage, unlike, the old traditional ways of network marketing, and certainly, going out and the high tech, as Gavin likes to refer to it, which it is, with going in and getting your funnel going and your autoresponder and everything else. That sometimes tends to be pretty one-sided. So not everybody is able to engage, but when you have a community and you get it to the point where you're bringing people in and you're engaging with people, that's the best way to really start building rapport and to build relationships. So that's definitely something that we're going to be continuing to work on. Deb, how far have you gone so far in Gavin's course in the 6 steps? Can anybody hear Deb? Deb, we can't hear you.
No.
Yeah, it sounds like you're muted, Deb.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, that's better.
I have this plugged into my microphone hole. Is that what I'm supposed to have it plugged into?
Yeah, that's working.
Okay, so I should be talking into this. Okay. I don't know anything about this. Yeah, what was I going to say?
Yeah, now we just have a lot of background noise, a lot of static.
I hear
Deb, I don't know if that's background noise on your end or somebody else.
No, it's completely silent here.
Anybody else have any background noise? Dig, what about you? Any noise in the background by you?
I don't have any background noise, and I muted myself.
Okay.
I muted myself so I didn't have the echo.
Oh, okay. All right. Then maybe that's what I'll do. When everybody's talking, I'll just, we should all mute ourselves so there's no background noise.
Okay, how do I do that?
Well, you're fine right now, so I guess we can get back and we can just let you answer your question from before as far as the 6 steps, because we didn't hear you before, but now I think we'll be good.
Okay, yeah, I'm only in module 2. The reason being is that I haven't gotten, far enough really to use everything, and I don't want to overload my mind. So I'm just kind of moving along as my group moves along, using people coming in and following those steps so far. The person that came in a few days ago, he's in like over 1,000 groups, and I messaged him and he messaged me back, and I tagged him on the welcome message in the group, but he didn't. I don't even know if he saw it to come in and introduce himself. So I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, and that's certainly a possibility because people tend to join far more groups than they really should, and once they do that, it's very difficult. They lose track of the groups that they're in. They don't engage with 99.9% of the groups that they're in, and you really can't have that community feeling, in trying to engage with people. So if you find somebody in your community that belongs to that many groups, I wouldn't really have high expectations for really connecting on a higher level with that person. Over time, if you post something that maybe resonates with them, they may become a little bit more active. But the focus really needs to be on bringing in new people all the time. And again, that's something that we're going to certainly be working on, so you'll be able to do that. Anyway, thanks, Deb. Just going to move along to the Cockway right now and see if we can find out a little bit more about him. So, Dig, if you want to unmute yourself. And Deb, I muted you.
Okay, now fine. I am in the 6 steps, and I am now at the level where I have to do a phone call. That is, I passed where I gave the freebie. Now my earliest contact is where I have arranged to be make a call for them. And I decided he is in America, I'm in South Africa. So I thought the best way to go over that is to suggest Skype. So he said he's going to make a, I'm already on Skype, but he said he's going to join Skype. That's where I am. Otherwise, on the getting context, I think Mark really helped me. My group was 4 people, myself, Mark, and 2 others for quite a long time. Then after I joined the 6-step sponsoring, Mark started to give me more support now, and I'm happy to say I am now over a short period at 32. Thank you, Mark. You make my day.
You're very welcome. Again, it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's, slow and steady wins the race. So it's really just a matter of taking action consistently, being persistent, and before you know it, you're going to, keep adding people. And as people come into your group, and as people, see the kind of quality that you are, generating, creating in your group, they're going to also refer other people to your group. As my group has grown, my community has grown, I've had other people that are community members that are referring other people to the group, which just, makes it grow at a faster pace. So that's definitely going to happen. So that's something you can certainly look forward to. And once you start, and getting back also, Deb, to what you were mentioning about where you are in the 6 steps, with this group, what we're going to do, we're going to really, go over everything right from the get-go, right from the beginning, and take it from, step number 1, even just, the foundational steps, and then we'll go into module 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So we're going to take it, right from the top and address any questions that anybody might have. Glenna, there are also going to be, I'm going to give you other ways to get a hold of a lot of the content that Gavin has put out, which will give you a good foundation for the 6 steps. So if you don't have the program, there'll be other ways that you can really, so that you'll be able to follow along, and it'll make more sense, when we do go through the training and through the lessons. So Gavin, and I'll share a little bit later, Gavin has on the blog, the Networking Superstars blog, he's got some great content, with all 6 steps. And certainly if anybody who does not have the online market, the Network Marketers Online Blueprint, that's also 4 very, very good, not very long, but very good training videos that will also give you a good foundation for the 6 steps. So, again, that's something that we're going to be discussing in more detail. And as we go through each one over the course of the next several weeks, we'll go through the areas that, people find, the ones that are maybe the most challenging. But anyway, Dig, it's my pleasure to help you and anybody else. The goal is to continue to build our group, continue to build out the relationships, because again, having a community is really, of everything that I've done in the past, and I've done virtually every different method and different way of really connecting with people, and again, using the high tech and the high touch. And I find that the high touch with what we're doing now with the communities is really the best way to really get good, solid, consistent engagement. And to really, and not everybody's going to engage. I've got 200 and maybe 50 people in my community now, and it's usually, a percentage of people that do engage, and every now and then you want to put out a post that's strictly an engagement type post, so that people will at least respond, because with all the changing algorithms and everything else that constantly goes on with Facebook, not everybody even sees your content, and that's not always a good thing. So, you want to be at a point where people are going to see your content, and I see we have a lot more background noise again. Okay, that's better. Dig, I just muted you also, so I'm the only one talking right now. But basically, in order to, get those people to engage, we have to make sure that they're seeing your content. So if you put out a little teaser post or something that's specifically an engagement type post in your community, and you get people to engage with that, once they do, and they're basically, telling Facebook that, yes, I'm interested in seeing more of your content, then they will see it on a more regular basis. And the more people you get into your community, the more people that will engage. Sometimes people don't want to be the first one to engage on a post or a piece of content, but once somebody does, then other people will. So one of the other things that we're going to be discussing shortly after the introductory phase is having basically accountability partners. And what goes hand in hand with accountability partners is that I want to make sure that all of us are members of each other's communities, and we really have to make the effort to show the support of not only our accountability group, but our focus group. And when we're notified, make sure the notifications are turned on. When we're notified, we want to make sure that we go in and that we do comment and we do generate some engagement for our accountability partner, for our focus group partner. And once we do that, you're going to start to see the engagement take off a little bit more, because now more people are going to see the post and they're going to see people already engaging. And when somebody sees that somebody has already made comments, they're going to be more likely to make comments as well. So now, Glenna, I'm going to unmute you so you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is Glenna Stevenson, and I care for a 99-year-old man. And we both just got over the flu, and I think he's doing better than I am. He seems to have more energy than I do after the flu, so it's been a challenge there. That's what I do offline. What I do online is two things. Well, three. I have a lot of things going on, but mainly I have a membership site that I'm building. And I don't have a Facebook group community, and I think that's what's missing for me. And part of my challenge on that is consistency, because sometimes I go, like 3 days without getting on Facebook, because I'm not really able to, because I'm dealing with some issue with Ben. And then content is the other one. I'm I read all kinds of stuff, so I can fill in content, but I feel like I'm stealing if I say something that somebody else has said, and then I don't want to keep putting in what everybody else says and nothing is from me type of thing. So I'm still shy about that, and have been for years. So that's one of my challenges, to get over myself, my ego in that sense, I guess. And as Mark said, I'm not in the new 6-step sponsoring program. I have the old one, and I never followed through with it to complete it either. But and that's why I wanted to get involved with this group, because what's missing for me is the support for the Facebook groups, to get that started and get a community rolling.
Excellent, Glenna. I mean, that's something that, we're going to be spending a lot of time with, and I think that was something that was missing, from, I guess, my tool belt also. In the past, I've had groups, but I built the groups up. I had, several hundred people, but then I just, time constraints, other things come into play, and you're just not able to really spend as much time creating that quality content, because it really is something you have to do on a daily basis. I mean, I know that they say you should post, multiple times a day. I don't always have the time to do that. I leverage my time to the best of my ability. One of the things that a lot of us use, I don't believe in using auto posters, because as far as I'm concerned, that's really similar to spamming. But one of the things that you can do is use a tool like Hootsuite. And then if you want to plan out your posts, or a post planner, or certain tools like that, where you're not spamming, but you're just really posting to your community, or maybe posting to your profile, where you can plan out a number of days in advance. So if you do have some free time and you want to put together some content, then you can go ahead and you can schedule it to show on Facebook in your community once you have one, or to show on your profile, whenever you want. This way you can post 3-4 times a day if you want, and you just have to really find the time, carve out a little bit of time to do it once, sit down, plan out several posts, schedule it to show whenever you want it to. You can do that for a given day. You can do that for a couple of days. You can even do it as far out as a week if you want to leverage your time. So, a tool like Hootsuite I've been using, and I find it's very, very powerful also. So that's something that you may want to consider doing. Not having a community now is certainly something that you can overcome very easily by creating a community. Gavin has on his blog, he's got a very, very good tutorial about the right way to really create your group and your community. So that's something I'll certainly send everybody a link to the focus group, to our chat, so that everybody has access to that. So if maybe we want to tweak a little bit in our group, if we want to first start a community, that'll be the best way to go about it. One of the great things about MLSP, now Glenna, getting back to what you were saying as far as maybe feeling that you're stealing other people's content, in the coming weeks we're going to be discussing how to take other people's content and really reframe it so that it really is your content. All you really have to do is just put your own feelings and your own thoughts at the beginning, maybe at the end, change a few things around. You're not really making a massive change, but it will appear as if it's coming from you if you do make a couple of tweaks. So that's something that you can do very easily and use other people's content and have it appear as if it's your own. One of the great things about MLSP, and a great way to not only get leads into MLSP and potential signups, and one of the other things that I want to be working over with you guys on over the next number of weeks is how to get more leads into MLSP, which is going to hopefully translate into more signups into MLSP. And one of the things that you can do, if you haven't already done this, I certainly strongly suggest that you do, is to take advantage of the MLSP blog, because it can be branded in your name. All you have to do is have a username. It's not the same as the one for your regular membership, but it is one that you can very easily create, and then you can share blog posts. So that's a great thing to do in your community. It's a great thing to do on your profile because you're offering value. You put a little teaser post out, something where you're letting people know, and you can check my profile and you can see the types of things that I'm doing out there, and I usually get good engagement with people wanting the training or wanting to see the content that we're providing. And MLSP certainly provides a lot of great value. So you basically, if you post something that's regular blog post branded to you, you're going to find that people are going to really resonate with that. And if they decide they're going to have access to a lot of different tools once they're on the MLSP blog, anything that they click on, anything that they purchase, anything that they join, it's all tagged to you, so they wind up joining with you. So it's definitely a tool that you definitely want to use. So I certainly strongly recommend that as well. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of about me. You guys told me a little bit about you, so now it's time for me to tell you a little bit about me. Hopefully in my community, hopefully you've already maybe seen my vision, and I posted recently, not that long ago, something about me so you could see a little bit about my background. Okay, see, Glenna has to step away for a few moments, so that's fine, and hopefully she'll be back soon. So now I have a captive audience of 2. So anyway, as far as my life is concerned, I live in New Jersey with my wife. My son is away at school, not too far from where you are, Deb. He's in Pittsburgh. So we're certainly very proud of him. I work the day job full time, and I would certainly like to not be working the day job full time. I've been working in, and this is something, Dig, that you're familiar with. We've had conversations about this, customer service, and how important it is to really be able to provide client service and customer service and just overall service to your customers. And basically, I've been a customer service manager in the manufacturing industry for over 30 years. So I have a very strong background in that offline, and I've been able to take a lot of that training that I've had and the skill set that I've developed offline, I've been able to take that online. And one of the ways that I've been able to do that is to really be able to offer that, quote-unquote customer service to all of my partners, my business partners. And, I certainly consider anybody, whether they're in my downline, whether they're in MLSP with me, as my business partners and certainly my friends. So I've been able to develop that skill set over the years, and it's really helped me to transition and translate it very well to, my online persona as well. Um, I've found ways to leverage my time with using tools online, whether it's Hootsuite or whether it is creating funnels in a more high tech sort of a manner. But basically, it's all about leveraging your time. I've been fortunate; I've been able to do that. My time management skills, luckily, are pretty solid, and that's one of the things that I post a lot about also in my community. I have a blog that's pretty much dedicated and devoted to personal development, and part of personal development is developing certain skill sets, and time management is a big one. So that's certainly something else that I want to be able to discuss over the coming weeks also, because I think that that's one way that it's going to help anybody, whether it's in your business life offline or whether it's in your business life online. It's important to really have good time management skills and to really have a good work ethic and to be accountable and all those good things, and certainly to be disciplined. So if you've got the discipline, and I know that a lot of us are time challenged for one reason or another, with our day jobs or our family commitments or other things, and it's important to really carve out that time for you and to be able to manage your time, even if it's in small chunks of time. To set 15 minutes aside to do something, and then tend to your business, and maybe come back and just have blocks of time that you allocate to what it is that you need to do, so that you are taking daily action and you're being consistent about it. Because especially if you have a community, or Glenna, when you have your community, you're going to want to make sure that people engage, and the way that you're going to get people to engage is by, they're going to come to expect certain behavior. They're going to come to expect, especially if you provide content that they like and that they're interested in, they're going to look forward to seeing that content on a regular basis, just like blogging. People that blog periodically, the visitors that maybe they have, the engagement that they get, the shares and the likes and the comments, that just starts to disappear. People start to expect a particular schedule, and they have certain expectations, and when you don't meet those expectations, they're gone. People are basically very, very fickle. There are a lot of opportunities out there. There are a lot of groups and communities out there. People have their choice of where they want to go and what they want to do and who they want to do it with. So, you always want to make yourself stand out. And one of the ways to do that is to just, become a person that people, can expect on a regular basis you to be there for them. It shows your leadership skills and your leadership abilities, and, you become somebody that other people want to follow when you do that. So, that's important to do. And again, these are things that we're going to be discussing over the weeks. So I'm going to basically unmute you guys for any questions that you might have, or comments. Hey, here I go again with my muting problem. You guys might have to just unmute yourself if you can do that. That would be great.
I unmuted myself.
Yes, I see you did. I was able to mute you guys before, but now it's not unmuting. Okay, Deb, you seem to be unmuted. No, now you're muted again. Okay, Dig and Deb, are you able to unmute yourself? You're good, Deb. Okay, it looks like you guys are all good now.
I did that myself.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Go for it. We sure can.
I am posting. I look at other people's groups, and they are posting all this inspirational stuff, and there's not really, I think, a lot of teaching content in there. But they seem to be raking in the members, and I post a combination of each. But I like to put in something where people can actually learn something. And so should I be putting in maybe all this inspirational stuff that's about what people like, or do they actually like to learn something? That's what I'm confused about. Because when I post something that is just like a learning thing, I can see that they like looked at it maybe, but nobody comments on anything or anything. And then when you post some picture with some inspirational thing on it, which is, I don't know, it's all good, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Why? What are they in the groups for? For that, or are they actually in there to learn something? That's what I'm confused about. Do you have any comments about that?
First of all, that's an excellent question. And different groups tend to run their. Yeah, I'm going to mute you again, Deb. Just give me 1 second. Different groups and communities tend to have different ideas of what they want to do. Now, like I said before, I'm into personal development, so motivational quotes and things like that I think are great. I post them all the time on my profile. But in my community, I, like you, strongly believe that it really should be more of a teaching environment because that's really offering value. However, that being said, what I'm noticing, like you, with what other people are doing, and I think it's good, like with anything else, it's the 80-20 rule, and it's probably best to mix things up a little bit, and to have certain posts that I guess we can call purely engagement posts, because a lot of times people will be looking at your training and they'll be getting a lot of value out of it, but they just won't necessarily comment, and part of it is maybe what I mentioned before, that they don't always want to be the first one to make a comment, which is why it's important that we'll all be a support group and a syndication group for each other so that we can get the ball rolling. And once somebody sees a comment being made, then they'll be more apt to go ahead and engage themselves. But I think, a healthy mix of, things, again, that are just really maybe purely for engagement purposes. And people do resonate with votes. There's no doubt about it, especially if they're by people that are, people that they know about, that they've heard of before. So yeah, I would say that that's something you should throw in. Let's say if you were going to post 2 or 3 times a day or 4 times a day, depending upon your schedule, and you can even do it with Hootsuite. I would say you should make at least maybe 1 post, every couple of days, or 1 out of every maybe 5 or 6. Maybe should be a little bit more of an engagement type post, which sort of goes counter to what we want to do as far as teaching, but it will get the engagement going, and that's important because, again, the more people you get to engage, they're going to see more of your content. So a lot of your teaching content, maybe people aren't seeing as much of because they're not really engaging. So if you put an engagement type piece of content out there that gets people to really at least comment, then they're going to, more people will be able to see the real value that you feel that you want to share with them. More people will be able to see that. And again, when they see other people have made comments, then they're going to say, hey, let me get in and jump on the bandwagon also, and they're going to start making comments as well. So I think a healthy mix. Certainly not all motivational. I've seen a lot of groups and communities where it's very, very heavy in that kind of stuff, and just a lot of questions. And again, the reason a lot of people will say, what's your favorite day of the week? They'll ask questions that are just really things that, don't necessarily resonate with me, but it's a way of getting people to engage, fill in the blank sort of thing, which I know Gavin talks about a lot in the 6 steps as well. And it's a way to get people to engage. I mean, one of the things that I do, and I throw in some of that sometimes as well, and every now and then, just to make sure that people are seeing my content, I will, hold on. And just to make sure that people are seeing my content, one of the things that I'm going to do also is put out a post and basically ask people. It's basically, you want to always have some sort of a call to action. And, in certain cases, my call to action is going to be, please let me know that you're seeing my post because I want to make sure that Facebook is going to show you my content. Please let me know that you're seeing my post and let me know what time it is, that type of thing. And you can see what I'm doing in my community and possibly do the same thing in yours. And at least, those types of things get everybody to comment and to respond and to engage. And once they do that, that they're more likely to see your real meat and potatoes content. So, that's my suggestion as far as that's concerned.
Okay. My question is about, you say engagement. So I get I'm hearing 2 ways to engage is well, his content isn't necessarily engagement, but the sayings, quotes, and inspirational is one way to engage, and then asking questions. So what other ways? I mean, I look at other people. I have a roommate who, I mean, it's just she's not in business. She's retired, but a former college roommate, and she talks about her travels. She's traveling in Europe right now, and she gets a lot of people, wanting to know more about what she's doing. But I don't travel. And I feel, it's like one of the things is I work for somebody, and most of what I do with him is personal. So I've been asked not to share stuff on Facebook about my caregiving skills or anything related to him, because there's a lot of people who know who he is, and they don't want, the daughter is just very protective. So, and a lot of the stuff I post about is health related. I mean, that's what people want to know from me, is health related stuff. So, but I get the group we're talking about is mostly like online marketing, engagement, how to promote yourself. Maybe that's a question. I mean, because if I was thinking about starting two groups. One would be on the research I do regarding supplements and things like that, and then also another group that's committed to online marketing or marketing your home-based business. So.
Yeah, Glenn, can you mute yourself? I'm very staticky.
Yeah.
Okay, that's better. Can you guys hear me? Okay, that's great. One of the things I would suggest, especially Glenn, in your situation, because you don't have any community started yet, I would focus on one community, and you can really have a blend in that one community. You definitely have great skills, and health-related stuff is important, and people need to know about that. But you can also transition, and again, getting back to what we said before as far as the 80-20 rule, you can also bring in very easily and transition into network marketing, because you've got so many people online that are going to be interested in what you have to offer as far as health and wellness is concerned. And because there are so many businesses out there that, online network marketing businesses that have to do with that, it would be very, very easy for you to transition that great content, that value that people are going to definitely resonate with, to transition into also talking about business, not necessarily with you trying to pitch or recruit somebody into your business, but talking about different ways to help people out with their respective businesses. One of the things that I've always tried to do, I've always tried to be an attraction marketer, a permission-based marketer. One of the things that Gavin has trained on over the years, and one of the things that MLSP is very, very big on, is attraction marketing. The very, very best thing to do, and the very, very first thing you always have to do, is provide value up front. You find so many marketers these days that just spam and just pitch their links and do the auto posting thing. You have to provide value. So if you've got a niche, if you've got an expertise, you want to really put your best foot forward, and that's what you want to lead with. With you, it's health and wellness. I mean, Dig and Deb, you guys have your own niches also that you feel very, very passionate about, and that's what you really want to lead with. And once you do that, and you do get the engagement, people see how passionate you are, and they look at you in terms of being, an expert in your niche, in your industry. Then you can post anything, and you're going to get people to respond. You're going to get people to engage. Glenn, getting back to what you were asking before, I think that there are all kinds of different kinds of engagement and getting people to engage. Whether it's an inspirational, motivational type of a quote, or it's asking a question. But it depends upon how deep or how much value you want to provide. Again, a lot of these things are just going to be strictly for engagement purposes. to get people to respond, to get people to make a comment. But whatever it is that you post in your community, on your profile, it's good the majority of the time to really have a call to action. And, even getting back to, Deb, what you were saying before as far as having your training content, not having people engage. I have to, look at your community and look at some of your posts again a little bit more closely. But it's important to basically, people aren't going to comment unless they're basically asked to, or in most cases told to. So you always have to have a very strong call to action. And, at the end of every one of my posts, regardless of what it is, I usually will tell people or ask people, please comment below, and I'll even tell them what to comment with, in quotes, to leave me a comment and say, yes, I saw this post, or yes, I found value, or whatever it is. If you're telling or asking people what to do and you have a call to action, you're going to find more people going to engage. So the key is also just to make sure that more people are seeing your content. And that's, again, where those pure engagement type posts come in. Even though it may not seem like anything that's real valuable, because technically, for the most part, it's not, it's going to get people to engage and to comment so that they'll see more of your good, valuable content. And then, again, they'll start commenting on that. And it's also a matter of building up the membership in your group. When you don't have a lot of people in your group, I mean, if you can get 5 to 10% of the people to engage, that's a huge number. But when you've got 1,000 people in your group, I mean, some of the groups that have been, around, some like Nicole Hanshi's group, or, groups like that, her group, she's got over 1,000 people. A number of people that work with Gavin have been doing this for a while, so they've got over 1,000 people or over 500 people in their group. So if they just get 5 to 10% of their members commenting, they're getting a ton of engagement. And that means more people are going to be seeing their content. And it's going into other people's news feeds. So, I mean, it really just feeds on itself. So as your group builds in the numbers and you get more people in your group, you're going to automatically start seeing more engagement, and the engagement rate's going up. I mean, the same holds true for me in my community, because I'm still building, and I'm up to, like I said, about 250 now. So when I get up to 500, I'll be getting a lot more engagement. And, that again, and, it takes time. A lot of people in the industry want this to be an overnight process. They want to, hit it big overnight, which is why you have all those shiny objects and you have people jumping from one opportunity to the next. And that's not always the best way to go. You want to build solid relationships. You want to build long-term relationships, and the best way to do that is it's a process, and you have to take it one step at a time, one day at a time. See, one step at a time, Deb, so that's your group. Mine's one day at a time. So, I mean, these are important concepts also, and things that people will resonate with. And it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. I mean, the people that are the most successful people in the industry, that are the industry leaders and the top industry money earners, people look at them and think that it happened overnight. These people, including Gavin, struggled for 10, 12, 14 years, not making any money, losing money. And then eventually maybe they got the right sponsor, the right coach, the right mentor, the right team, and things turned around. They finally were exposed to the right people, and they learned the right lessons. But these people struggled. It's very, very few people that, get lucky right off the bat. They do exist, but it's usually, ups and downs and a little bit of a struggle and uphill battles and going downhill a little bit. And it's not always a steady, easy ride. So, that's why people need to be consistent, and you need to be persistent. And from the years that I've been marketing, again, I find that building a community, once you get it to the point, and it doesn't take forever, but once you get it to the point where you do have a fair amount of members, and you can see the core people that will be, resonating and engaging with your content, and those are the people that you really want to hone in on. Those are the people that you really want to build out that connection with and take to the next level, because those are the people that are raising their hand and saying that they're interested in what you have to say. So, that's the important thing to remember. And also that it's not going to happen overnight. If you're not willing to put in the time and make the effort, and I know that everybody here is, we don't have the mindset that, we expect this to happen overnight. It would be great if it did. Everybody would love that to happen. But the people that chase that pipe dream are the people that, more often than not, they go from one opportunity to another, or they join 1,000 different communities. These are the people that are going to just struggle long term. Whereas what, we're trying to create and what we're trying to build now, I think that even though you maybe can't see the finish line right now, the finish line's a lot closer than you might realize. And when you least expect it, things are just going to happen and you're going to have a breakthrough. So it's just a matter of just sticking to it, and just, even though some days it's going to seem like it's impossible, just stick to it and don't quit. Don't ever quit. That's really the message as far as I'm concerned. So any comments from you kids? And you can unmute yourselves.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting obsessed because when I'm on the bus going to work, I'm in there making, in all these apps to create things for Instagram, and then I'm in my Facebook group really quick trying to that time on the bus, and then I get to work, and then if I have like any little breaks in between, I'm always like checking stuff. I feel like I'm like totally obsessed, and then when I get home, I'm doing this, that, and the. I haven't hardly gotten any sleep in the last 2 weeks because I'm like on my computer. I'm trying to like train. I'm still trying to finish the Instagram trainings, and I'm trying to go through Gavin's trainings, and I'm trying to like put stuff on my in my group, and I'm trying to like put educational stuff in the group as well as the other, inspirational stuff that everybody needs. And so I feel like I have like this drive that I never had before. It's really strange, but that's my comment. And I also have another question about Hootsuite. When I go into Hootsuite to schedule, the things go, but only the pictures go, and then my text does not go. And that's been happening to me lately. Like I have text and I put in the picture, and then it it goes on schedule, but there's just the picture. So, have you ever had that happen to you?
No, actually, I haven't. I think that, when it first gets posted, I know that I usually check. I have them send me a notification to email me when they've posted. And anytime I check, usually everything's there. The content is there, the text is there, along with the image. But maybe with Hootsuite, maybe it doesn't. Maybe there's a time limit. Maybe there's a duration where, after a certain amount of time, it might disappear. I mean, that's a possibility. So, I also have to experiment and find out, maybe even send in a support ticket. If that's the case, you might want to do the same thing. I haven't experienced that yet, but I hear what you're talking about, and I haven't heard anybody else mention that either. So that sounds like, a little bit quirky. So I'm going to look into that and see what I can find out. Otherwise, maybe if you just post, content only and not an image, and see what happens if the content does show up. Because it should be both. But you might want to just experiment a little bit and try just doing it with just content for a day or so. And as far as your obsession, quote unquote obsession, I think it's a healthy obsession. You certainly don't want to forfeit your sleep and things like that, and certainly work in a day job like I do. I know how challenging that can be. So, and with all the different trainings that you want to go through and you want to get through, the only advice I can give you where that's concerned is take it slow. Again, just try and block out certain hours where you count a certain time frames, even if it's 15 minutes to 30 minutes. If you don't get everything done in a given day that you want to, don't worry about it. As long as you're taking some daily action, that's a great thing. I mean, if anything, I would probably focus on getting at least one piece of content into your community a day. If you can get in a second piece, that's fine. Maybe one early, one late. But don't get yourself bogged down and overwhelmed with all the different things. Take it slowly. I mean, even when it comes to Gavin's training with the 6 steps, don't try and overdo it. Maybe just do, not one complete module, but each module has maybe 4 or 5 submodules, 4 or 5 training videos. And some of them are short, so you can maybe get through 1 or 2. Some of them are a little bit longer. But I would just go through maybe one training, module, one training video, a day or every other day. And it's all about, especially you guys, that have made the investment in the course, and like with anything else, even if it's just, from the MLSP blog, it's all about, and you've invested in MLSP. So it's, about investing, learning, and then teaching. So whatever it is that you learn, from, whatever training video it is, whether it's Gavin's or whether it's MLSP, definitely, why it doesn't have to be a lengthy piece, but certainly something that's value driven. But you can certainly go out there and whatever you learn, go out there and teach about it, and that's something that's very, very powerful. And Deb, getting back to what you said earlier, again, for me and to my way of thinking, it is all about value, and I think that that's what people really, really appreciate in your community. And that's, certainly where your focus should continue to be. It's just a matter of getting people, again, that call to action and getting people to engage. And, we can help you with that because we're going to, be able to, for each other, get the ball rolling and set the table and be able to go ahead and get that done, just getting it started and then seeing what happens. Because then, other people, again, more people see your content, and the more people that see your content, the more people that will engage. So this is probably a good time to just mention a couple of other things also. One of the things that, again, we find all the time, we find people pitching their links and, much, I guess akin to that, there are a couple of things that are real don'ts and real, killers as far as engagement is concerned. And I know you guys are all about value, so I know that you guys are never going to do this, but just a couple of things. Number one, as far as your groups, as far as your communities are concerned, and one of the mistakes that a lot of marketers make, and because they're impatient, they want their groups, Deb, I'm just going to mute you for a second there, because they want their groups and their communities to grow fast, not organically, but faster than they really should, artificially. They will just place people in their groups. It's not, what's called permission-based marketing. They don't do that. They'll just put you in the group. And I'm sure that we've all gotten notifications quite often that, somebody just, added you to a group. Anytime anybody adds me to a group, even if I go to check out the group and I see, hey, this isn't a bad group, there are a lot of people in there, thousands upon thousands of people, because they just add people. They don't ask people first. They don't go about it the right way. So I'll just unjoin. I will not be a part of a group that just adds me automatically. And that's why you also see, people that belong to a million different groups. Not that they're out there going and proactively joining those groups or researching those groups. They just get placed into groups and don't do anything about it. So, just make sure that in your communities, as you build them out, and I know you guys are not doing that, but don't be tempted because maybe your community is growing a little bit more slowly than you wanted to. Don't just go out and your friends and just add them to your group, because first of all, they're not going to like it. That's number one. Number two, they'll probably just leave the group, and even if they don't leave the group, they're never going to engage, and they're going to look at you a little bit differently also. So that's something you definitely don't want to do. And the other thing that I want to mention also, which comes to mind in much the same way, like even with the chat group. For instance, the chat group that I created for us for the focus group. Chat groups can be very, very useful. For like the intent, the purpose that I used it for. To have a small group of people together where you're working closely together and you want to get them information, you want to get them news, you want to get them updates, things like that. It's very, very helpful and very useful for that because it's dedicated to that. But same thing, one of the features that we all have with our communities is that you can start a chat group. So try not to, if you do start a chat group in your community, do it for a specific purpose, like I did with the focus group. Because what can happen also, if you have, let's say, hundreds of people in your community, and if they're engaging, that's great. If they're not engaging, we'll get them to engage eventually. But don't create a chat and invite in your whole community, because again, it's going to be similar to what happens when people are just placed into a group. It's, this is just the next level. It's the group chat. They're not going to like it. They're going to leave the conversation. They're going to leave the chat. They're not going to engage with you, and they may leave your community altogether. So, just a word of warning, for your current groups, and Glenna, for, when the time comes that you decide that you want to start your community, just watch out for those things. And, just, again, it's all about, the bottom line is, if I could really just emphasize one thing above all else, it's really, everything's got to be permission-based. You always have to ask for people's permission before you give them a link. Now, I've tried doing things a couple of different ways. And if you have a prior relationship or prior rapport with a friend on Facebook, and you've had a lot of conversations, previously, then you can easily say to them, hey, Deb, we've been friends now for a while, and I have this new group, this new community that I just started. It's really value-based, and this is what the focus is. I'd really love for you to join my group. Please let me know if I can send you a link. That's the way you want to approach it. But if it's somebody that you've been friendly with and you've had a lot of conversations with over a course of time, then you can actually do that and take it one step further and say, I hope you'll join my group, and give them the link. So this way you can get them to maybe join you a little bit more quickly. But, again, it's somebody that you already have a rapport with. It's not somebody who this is your initial conversation, or maybe you've sent them several messages and there's been no response. With somebody like that, you want to make sure that you strictly follow the guidelines of permission-based marketing and ask their permission to send you a link. Now, one of the other tips and things that I use, and it really works well, is when you're on Facebook, do you guys normally have your chat on, like on the right-hand side of the screen, so you can see which one of your friends is currently online? Okay. Because one of the things that I do religiously, and it works really, really well, and this is one of the tips I'm going to give you today, and there'll be others as we go along, for things that I've found have worked well for me and that should work equally well for you, is if you see a friend online, and it doesn't have to be somebody that you know real well, it can be somebody that's just a casual acquaintance, or maybe you've never had a conversation with. Start a conversation. Just ask them, I saw you online, I just wanted to say a quick hello, what are you up to these days? It's all about starting a conversation, because you never know where it's going to go. And in the 6 steps, there are certain questions that we talk about asking people at different stages of the relationship. And just to get the conversation started, not knowing where it's going to go, and it can go in a very positive way, it's always good to reach out to people. So, that's one thing you can do. Now, if you see somebody online that you have a little bit more of a relationship with, that you've had conversations with, the nice thing about them being online is that you can, practice permission-based marketing, because if they're online, they'll probably get back to you quickly, and you can say, hi, Glenna, I just saw you online, and I wanted to say hi. We've been connected for a while, but we haven't chatted for a while. I'd love to, invite you to my new community. It's really value-based, and this is what I'm offering. And I really hope that you would consider joining. Let me know if I can send you a link. So now they're online. You've chatted with them. You've spoken to them. You've had conversations with them before. Chances are that's something that's non-threatening. They're going to respond more often than not. And my experience has been, more often than not, they're going to say, yeah, that sounds great. Send me a link. Then all you have to do is send them a link direct to your community, and you'd be surprised, within a few minutes you're going to get a notification from Facebook saying so and so asked to join your community. So that is one thing that you can do each and every day. Doesn't take long. Reach out to maybe 4 or 5 people. That's all it really takes, and it works. It's very, very effective. So if you guys want to unmute and comment on that, that'll be great.
Anyway, just running errands. I've actually got home now. I just got myself some tea.
Any comments?
And now we are for the show at the high school. pretty much.
Actually, guys, you're probably hearing background noise on my side now, so I'm going to mute myself for a minute.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I never thought of that. Very good idea. I can't hear anyone.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. And because I see people online, but I don't engage with them. And I can see how building the group would make a difference. Like I have a group now, I have something to say to them because that's my thing. Is I see them on chat, but what do I say to them? And I don't want to spam them or send them a link or do any of that. You know, don't want to offend anybody or, like you said, permission marketing. So I can get that. That's good. Because a lot of my friends are interested in what I'm doing. You know.
Yeah, don't be afraid to engage. The worst thing they can do is just not respond back. But more often than not, especially if you're not pitching a link and you're doing it in a very, very professional manner, people are going to respond. And just to get the conversation going, something simple like hey Glenna, we haven't spoken for a while, but you can go back very easily and see how long you've been friends on Facebook. So you can say something simple like we've been connected since 2012. We really haven't gotten to know each other. I'd like to do something about that. So what is it that you're doing these days? How have you been? How's your business? I mean, there are all kinds of ways that you can innocently just start a conversation. And if they're not interested, you move on to the next person. If they are interested and you start that conversation, it's amazing where it can go. And when you least expect it, when you start a conversation with somebody and you have no expectations and you don't know where it's going to potentially go, you would be shocked as to what people may tell you just based on a simple question and an innocent question like, how's business these days? They'll tell you, well, I've been in network marketing for a few years now, and I'm not getting leads, and I'm really not having any success, and I'm really frustrated. Some people will tell you, I'm doing great, whether they are or they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, some people, but you'd be shocked as to how many people will acknowledge the fact that they have challenges. We have a solution. We have MLSP. We have our communities. We have exactly what a lot of these people need, but we're not going to know that they have a need and they need our help unless we start the conversation. So don't, I want to encourage you, don't ever, feel squeamish. Don't ever feel nervous or that you don't have enough to add or enough to say or enough value. Start the conversation. Ask the questions. Let them do the talking. I mean, and like I said, it can lead to some amazing places.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, and what you want to do when you ask a question also, the other good thing is you want to leave it open-ended. You want to ask the kind of questions that aren't going to just get a yes or a no response.
Right.
Something where they have to maybe expand on their answer a little bit. And most people will. People like to talk about themselves. And if you ask the right questions, you're going to get answers. And and at the very least, I mean, and you don't have to even feel compelled to pitch your link or to ask somebody if they want a link to see to see some sort of a video, to see some sort of a of your whatever your your primary business might be, if they want to see a link, because all you're really looking to do now, and I think this is the thing that's really the beauty of the whole thing, and where it's really not any sort of a conflict. When two marketers come together and you're both trying to get each other into your opportunity, you're just batting heads into no one's situation. The nice thing about MLSP is you're not trying to recruit anybody into your business. You're just trying to help people build their own business. So A, there's no conflict. And B, the nice thing is right now our focus can be, you're not even doing that. You're just trying to bring people into your community. And once they're in their community, just like every new Facebook friend is a lead, every person in your community is a lead. And a lead becomes a prospect, becomes a sign-up or a business partner. And it's happened to me many, many times, and it's a great feeling when it does happen. And it can certainly happen for you guys, and I'm sure in certain cases maybe it already has. but maybe not on a regular basis, and we're going to certainly get to that point where it is. And it's it's something that's not that difficult to get to that point. It's not that difficult to achieve, and it all starts with having conversations. And you don't necessarily have to pick up the phone and have a phone conversation. I mean, or even a Skype conversation for that matter. A lot of times it can be simply done just through back and forth conversation and dialogue on Facebook in chat. I've had people sign up with me in various businesses just through chat where I never picked up the phone. And so it happens all different ways, but the thing is just to reach out and to connect with people. And once you connect, amazing things can happen. Or if you're the type that you want to take it to the next level and you do want to get on the phone, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to be posting something about that in my community sometime tonight probably. So you'll see what I'm posting as far as that's concerned. But you don't have to do that. A lot of people don't want to take it to that level. They don't want to take it to the phone or even to Skype. And Skype is a great alternative to the phone. But again, it doesn't even have to go to that point. It probably should for better results, for quicker results, and to have a better shot at building out the relationship. And it's something that Gavin certainly highly recommends, in his training. But it's not necessary. It's not an essential to get signups into your business. But just something you should always keep in mind because it is something that definitely helps.
I have another question.
Certainly.
Is it okay to take some stuff from your community and post it into? I've seen people like Sean take stuff from Gavin's community and puts it into his community almost word for word. Is it okay to take stuff from yours and put it into mine like that?
Okay, what I would say about that is yes and no. Any content that you say on my community, I encourage you to definitely utilize in the proper way. So, and I've noticed that with some of the other communities, like with Sean and some of the others also, they just take it word for word, verbatim. And one of the things that Gavin even tells everybody is not to do that. If you see his posts and you get his notifications and you get his messages into your email, I mean, he tells them, here is content, but reframe it in your own words. Don't use it word for word, because what's going to happen is that, especially, we have a lot of people, there are a lot of members in our groups that are in multiple groups, that are also, for the Networking Superstars ambassador groups. Deb, you might be, and Dig, you might be in several other groups. I know I am. I know you guys probably are too. So we see what other people are posting. And I'll notice in a group like with Nicole Hanshi's group, she always, everything is in her own words, in her own language, in her own personality, and I think that's fabulous. And others that maybe aren't as experienced and haven't had the same type of results will just copy everything verbatim. So now what's going to happen, you're like going into, you belong to several different communities, you're getting notifications, you're going to see the same exact post from several different people, and that makes you lose a little bit of your credibility. It makes you, people look at you a little bit differently. So use my, get ideas from my content, in my community. Use parts of it, definitely. But all you really have to do is reframe it. And all you have to do that is at the very beginning of it and at the end of it is just, what's your biggest takeaway from that? Put that in your own words at the beginning, at the end, and maybe just leave out a couple of things so even the middle part isn't, exactly word for word. But then it appears as if it's coming from you, and it's different than what everybody else is posting. So yeah, feel free to take ideas from my community. Feel free to take content from my community. I encourage you to do that. But the only thing for your own good, I mean, I would say take it word for word, but it's going to do you an injustice. It's not going to put you in your best light, because other people that might be seeing you post that might also be a member of my community, are going to say, oh, I just saw that in Marc's community. Now Deb's saying the same thing. So you want to change it up a little bit. Doesn't have to be dramatic, but just your biggest takeaway, put that in the first part of it, and just the end, what maybe also, what you got out of it, or just talk a little bit more about, a certain direction or something that maybe you're doing, or how you're utilizing that strategy, or how you're utilizing that information. So just something, framing it on the top and the bottom, and just, making that your own in your own words will go a long, long way to, making it your own content, and, having people look at you as, that expert, in your niche, because that's how you want people to perceive you. You want people to always look at you as the type of person that they can come to if they need help, if they need advice, if they need something. They want to be able to come to somebody who's, stands out in their community, because right away, just the fact that you have a community is going to put you in a totally different light with people, and people are going to look to you as a leader, as an expert, and as somebody who's very, strong in their particular niche. So it's great to have your own community, because people are going to view you differently. But by the same token, just don't copy, other content. If you do, and here's the one, the disclaimer basically, and the one way you can do it, it's just like if you're blogging and you're utilizing somebody else's content, you just want to make sure you give them credit. That's all. So, I mean, there'll be times where 99% of your content is going to be, your own unique creation and your own unique content, but every now and then somebody's going to post something that you want to share. And I do that also, and that's great to do that. In a case like that, you can take it verbatim if you want, but just say, over in this particular community, I saw this incredible post by Marc, and I wanted to share it with you guys here because I think it can really help you. Something like that. So if you don't want to frame it to make it your own, then that's the alternative, is just to, give the credit, whether it's a blog post or whether it's a post in your community, just give the credit to the other person, because then people are going to have that much more, your community members are going to have that much more respect for you and look at you in the light you want them to see you in. So, that's the only suggestion I would have as far as that's concerned.
Okay, thank you for that, because that kind of, and I've heard this before, but it's like sinking in, and that's why I hesitate to post other people's content and all of that, because part of it is a time constraint of reframing it, but it's like, like you said, if I find it and then schedule something, then I have time to think about what I'm going to say. And I don't post anything on Facebook unless I've really read it over and I've edited it 4 times, to make sure I'm not offending people, or I'm saying it, no misspellings, or, not. So that helps me a lot. It helps me a lot. Thank you.
No, that's good. I'm happy to hear that. And it doesn't really have to take that long to reframe it, because all you're basically doing, I mean, you're learning something, hopefully, potentially, from any post that you might see in my community or Gavin's community or any community, or even just on somebody's blog. Anytime you see any valuable content, and it's going to happen all the time, you're going to see something you want to share with your community because it's going to help them. And all you really have to do is, like I said, either of those two things. Just give the credit to the person who, initially published that and who authored that, or just, when you read over that content, and there's going to be something that resonates with you. There's going to be some sort of a takeaway. So all you really have to do in reframing is to just put that in your own words, discuss that. What is it that you found so impressive about this piece of content that you felt that you wanted to share it with your own community? And that doesn't have to be paragraphs. It can just be a sentence or two. It doesn't have, and just do it at the top, at the beginning, and again, it's a basic reframing at the end. And that's all that you really have to do. So it doesn't really have to take a long period of time. You can do that pretty quickly, and it can be very, very effective. So any comments on that before I move to the next thing? Because it's getting, I know we started a little bit later than I wanted to because of my technical challenges. But it's been a while now, so I want to, out of respect to you guys and being Saturday, and I'm sure you have your own personal schedules, so I want to, wrap this up. But one of the important things that I definitely want to discuss, and nothing that we have to do now, but between the rest of the day today and tomorrow, as you get a chance, in the Spring Focus chat group that I created. Now, some of us are already in each other's communities, which is great. So I want us to have accountability partners. Now, two of us are missing today. Now, Glenna, I'm not sure how often you're going to be able to join us, but we can still accomplish what I want to and include you in it, which we certainly want to do. Now, when Tamara joins us in a couple of weeks, she'll be a part of that, and then certainly Claudia when she joins us. And I'm not quite certain what happened to Claudia today. But one of the things that we can do is help each other to get that engagement. So I want us to think about having accountability partners, and we can change them up. I mean, so let's say if Dig, you and Deb wanted to be accountability partners for, let's say, a 4-week period and really support one another, and when you see that the other one, you get a notification that they posted in their group, go to their group, make a comment. Just takes a few minutes, as long as it's something that's good and that's thoughtful, and vice versa, so it's reciprocated, just to get the engagement going. And then you don't have to talk on the phone. You can it can even be like every day or every other day or every third day. Just connect with one another, with your accountability partner on Facebook. Send a private message. Just how are you guys doing? What was it that you did today? Whatever your schedule was, your daily method of operation, so to speak, whatever you accomplish for that day in your 15 minutes, in your 30 minutes, whatever time you allocated. What is it that you did today to move your business forward? Just find out from that person, encourage that person to take action every day. So having an accountability partner is something that's very, very important. So, and like I said, every 4 weeks or so, we can actually change it so we all get a chance to work together with each other as an accountability partner. Now, I'm there for you guys, all of you, at any time you need me, like I have been. So it's not like if I have an accountability partner, I'm just going to be working with them closely for that period of time. I'm there for you guys whenever you need me, so that's not even an issue. But I think that if we work as a pair, I think it can be much more effective. So in addition to that, what I want us to do in the chat, just Glenna, at this point you don't have a community set up yet, so it doesn't really pertain to you. And I'll post it so Claudia and Mary and everybody else can do the same thing, and hopefully they'll get the recording of this and they'll get a chance to watch it. If I did it right, and hopefully I did, so it'll be a YouTube recording that I can get a hold of and give to you guys. But hopefully, what I want to do is, I want us to each be able to be a part of each other's groups. So post your community, post a link to your community. Let's make sure that we join each other's communities so that when we do get a notification that something's been posted, we can go in there and we can make a comment. Now, Dig and Deb, you guys have been awesome. I know that you come to my community, you engage on a regular basis. I really, really appreciate that. And I promise you, my commitment to you guys is that I'm going to do the same for you on a more regular basis. I've done so and I've tried to do so, but I'm going to be more diligent and more conscientious about doing it going forward. And I want us each to be able to do that and support one another, because the best thing that you can ever do for your business is to not have to build it yourself. You need to work in a team atmosphere and a team environment to have that kind of support. And this kind of support, you'd be surprised, really goes a long way, because it's just like a blog syndication group. This is really just a community syndication group. And I think it's going to really help all of us. So, when you get a chance today, tomorrow, sometime this weekend, just make sure you drop in the chat that we have, just drop in, a link to your community. I belong to all your communities already, so it's not a problem. But I want to make sure, and this might already be the case, we might already belong to each other's communities, but I want to make sure that we do. And then after that, then take it to the next step and make sure that we engage in each other's communities to help each other out and to show support for one another.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, when Well, I'm in Sean's group too, and there was like a couple people in there that were new, and he messaged me and he said, "Well, why don't you guys all join each other's communities to support each other?" So we did, and one of them's Gillian, and I forget her last name. There's another girl, and we kind of like jumped from each other's group because we just started our communities. We kind of already do that, and then Claudia, I belong to her group too, so I think that's a really good idea. You know, we did it first to like support each other in our groups, you know, in our different groups to be able to get started and to have conversations going on, and we kind of still do that. And but yeah, I'm also in Claudia's group already, so I just wanted to say that. That was
No, that's great. And you know, when I've visited other groups also, I see you guys in those other groups and I see you engaging, and it is great to show that kind of support. And you know, we just have to make sure we do it on a consistent basis. Now, if you belong to a bunch of groups, then obviously it's going to take time to go into each and every one of the groups and to do that. So, you know, you want to be selective, and you know, I don't want any of us for that matter to basically not have the time to focus on our own communities because we're trying to support everybody else's community. So let's not utilize and lose a lot of time doing that. But certainly our group, which of course includes Claudia, and I'm not sure if Mary has her own community set up yet, but we'll certainly find out going forward. Tamara started her community, so we certainly want to get her involved in that. So, and any other groups that you find that you're already doing that, where you want to continue to do that, then by all means, if you have the time to do it. But I know it can certainly cut into your time. So it's great to syndicate, but we don't want to get it to the point where even though it's only going to take a few minutes, if you do it over the spread out over too many communities, it's going to take up a lot of your valuable time. So we just have to be selective in doing that. But yeah, that's something that definitely helps.
Yeah, that's good. I don't belong to that many, and I have like high school groups that I belong to, which I don't participate in that much. Just that they're like funny groups, who hung around at Northway Mall when they were in teenager. Those are just fun groups, and I'm not in there I mean, I go in there once in a while just to see what funny things are in there. But other than that, I'm just not really in that many groups. And those people that I mentioned are like the only ones I'm really in, except for Gavin's. I go into Sean's group once in a while and see what's going on, and I'm just kind of nosy. I just look around. But
And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a good idea to do that.
oh,
Guys, give me 1 second. I'm doing something, and I'll discuss it with you in a second. Can you guys still hear me?
yeah,
Okay. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. What I just did, and I know that there is a tool to do this. I'm just not sure where it is right now. Do you guys, by any chance, have any sort of a screen capture tool that you use that you have on your computer? Something like Jing, which is a free tool, something like that? Okay, because that's something that's very, very good to use. What I just did now, I just did a screen capture of what we're doing now, this Hangout. So one of the things that I encourage you guys to do, and that's very, very powerful, is, and I just did a screen capture. I'm going to post it on my profile, probably in my community, and you guys can do the same thing. If you haven't, if you don't have a tool to do it, yourself, just use mine. All right, I'm going to do a couple of more just before we close out, and I'm going to feature each one of you in the screenshot, so this way you can utilize it in your own community. So one of the things that this is going to accomplish is that people, again, they're going to see this. They're going to see that you're part of a training group, you're part of a mastermind group, you're part of a focus group, you're having fun, you're engaging with people, you're learning, you're growing. And when people see that, that also puts you in a different light. It also makes people look at you differently, like we were talking about before, and shows you as somebody that they want to follow, that they want to be a part of that person's group. And that will probably also get people to join your group. And all you have to do is, you can utilize it and just put a little blurb in there, a little content, and invite people into your community. Certainly not the focus group, but into your community. So this is something that's very, very powerful. So I just took a screenshot, and I want to take a few more quick screenshots, so I might disappear for a second, and then I'll make them available to you guys also to post on your profile or in your communities. And I think that it's going to be something that you're going to find is actually very powerful and also something that will get a fair amount of engagement. Okay, so let's see, I did one now. Doing another one featuring you, Deb. So give me a second. Okay, if you guys want to unmute yourself and talk while I'm doing this, that would be great. So you guys can have a little conversation. And as long as you can hear me and I can hear you, I can still answer your questions.
Okay, I would like to be taught how to do the screenshots. I like the way you do them, Mark, but I tried, I couldn't succeed. Next thing, I saw they wanted me to pay. Are you sure it's free? Because I thought something like your trial period is over. That's when I ran away. Is it free?
On which tool are you talking about?
That one you take screenshot. You gave to me. I was using it, but it came to where it told me my trial period. I got it from you.
Oh, okay, yeah, because there is some of these that have free versions that I guess, maybe if it's a trial version, and then they maybe expect you to upgrade or they give you the option to upgrade. But the basic Jing, which I use, I have an upgraded version also for doing some videos, but you can use the basic version of Jing, and I'll send you a link. It's free, and it should always be free, so that shouldn't be an issue. And I can make a quick video that will also show you. Exactly.
That will be great. That will be great.
Sure. I have one more to go. Give me a second here. Glenna, we're up to you.
Okay.
Plus, this is a great tool to use for, other reasons also. Just doing screenshots. If you have a smartphone and you take images, pictures, and you post them on Facebook, or you do screenshots and you post them on Facebook, that's all very powerful stuff. And, people like storytelling. People like to see what you're involved in, what you're into. And these are really the things, oddly enough, Deb, getting back to what we were talking about earlier, where you show real great content and training and you're not getting the engagement. Ironically, these are the things that people tend to engage with. So when you tell a little bit about your story, a little bit about your life, the craziest engagement I get is when, like, it's my birthday or my wife's birthday or our anniversary, or when we had, during the winter when we had major snowstorms, I posted that. Those are the things that get conversations going off the charts. Because people, like to hear about other people's stories and what they have going on in their lives. So, that's something else that you want to also blend in to, when you're doing, when you're doing basically your posts, whether it's in your community, on your profile, think in terms of stuff that's a little bit more personal also, and that always gets a lot of engagement. And you can do that on your personal profile. You can do that equally easily in your community also, and it's a great way to get people to know you a little bit better. Like the piece that I did in my community recently, where it's basically about me. I put like a little image there, like an about me image, and I told a little bit about my journey, about my story. And I think that I don't remember offhand, but I think I got fairly good engagement. So, don't be afraid to let people in and let people, learn a little bit more about you. Obviously, you don't want to be too personal, but go ahead and do that, and don't be shy, because that definitely works as well. And the last
skill I need. Oh, okay.
No, go ahead.
Another skill I've got a tablet now. Copy and paste. When I try to copy a section, I only copy one word. I need help on that.
Yeah, no,
You know,
that's
you
fine.
see, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can put together a couple little, quick tutorial videos about copying, pasting, and as far as how to use Jing and things like that. So yeah, if that's something that you
In a,
guys are
in
going to
a
find helpful.
smartphone. Okay, thanks. Sir.
Oh, you're talking about copying and pasting on your smartphone?
Yes, with the laptop I'm okay. Now go into the tablet. That's where the problem is.
Oh, yeah,
The laptop
I'm
is
not
bad.
even familiar with that myself, so I wouldn't be able to help you with that. But one of the things that you can always do, and I do it all the time, for various reasons, there's nothing in the world that you can't Google. I mean, so if you have something that you want to learn about, and especially if you want a video tutorial about it, I would just Google, how do I copy and paste on a tablet? And it's going to
I
give you a,
Googled.
okay,
I
because it's going to
Googled.
give you a
That's
million
where.
search results.
I have Googled. Now but I'll try more and more until I master it.
Because what you want to try and do is when you Google it, let me see if I can do a quick screen share. When you Google that, what's going to happen? Let's see.
How to copy and paste on.
Yeah, can you guys see my screen or is it doing something
Yes,
funky?
I
No,
see.
I see you when you.
Yeah, it looks like it's
I
cascading. It's not,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not working the way I want it to. So forget that idea. Anyway, what I was going to say is that when you do your Google search, it's going to pull up a page where basically it's going to show you, you know, a million search results. But if you look at the
yes,
top, if you
yes.
look at the top, like the navigation tab, it's going to give you an option where it says video. So click on the tab that says video, and then this way it's going to give you all the video results for what you're looking for. This way you can watch a quick, maybe 5-minute video tutorial on how to, copy and paste on a tablet or anything else for that matter. So that's a good way to,
Okay.
get that kind of information quickly. And
Yes,
I
yes.
want to leave you
No,
guys with one
I'll
other.
try that.
Yeah, try it. If it doesn't work, let me know and I'll see what I can find. But I just want to leave you guys with one other thing before we close, and just something else to be, wary of and cautious of, because as we build our groups and as our membership grows, you're going to get some crazy people probably in your communities. You may already have some.
I did
So
get one. I got one. She
yeah, I'm
spammed
not
on
surprised.
every single post. She spammed, and then she went into my friend's, my personal one, and she spammed on every single post. And I sent her a message, and I told her that she was, not she didn't have any friends on Facebook except for 5, and she was in all these groups. And I think that's what she was doing. And then she apologized to me, but I still threw her out of the group. But anyway,
Yeah, and you know what? You did exactly the right thing because that's what I've done also, and will continue to do that. I'm going to make another. We didn't get a chance to discuss it. I was hoping to today, but like I said at the beginning, these hangouts that we're going to go in different directions. I don't want to have an agenda of things that we have to cover because I want to cover what's important to us, and over the course of the weeks, we're going to cover everything eventually anyway. So I want it, to be an open forum for other things that it might just lead to. And don't be afraid if when you're building a community and it's like you work so hard to get a member, it's like, ooh, do I want to like get rid of a member that I work so hard to get? But if they're not the right people for you or they're spamming, make sure you have your settings so that they cannot post to your group, that you have to approve any post that's made. You must have the ability to approve. You don't ever want, whether it's your Facebook profile or whether it's a community, you don't want anybody to be able to post and for it to appear there. So do you have your settings set so that you have to approve all posts?
Yes.
yeah, I thought I did, but she didn't join. I let her in the group, and when people post, they respond. It just goes right in. So when she joined, she was in, and then that's when she started spamming.
Okay, yeah. If they comment to an existing post, there's nothing you can do about that. You just don't want to you want to make sure that they don't have the ability to generate and initiate a post. Yeah, but if they comment, then yeah, the only thing you can do and the wise thing to do is kick them out of your group. There's no doubt about that. And you know what? There'll be other people that'll replace that person. And one of the things that I wanted to do today that we didn't get a chance to do, and I'm going to make a little video tutorial when I get a chance during the week, is that you want to be you want to use whatever discretion you can, and you don't want to just let anybody into your group, even if you're really anxious to build your group and to get new members in. So I always look at a person before I accept them into the group. I look at their Facebook profile, and there are certain things that you should be doing on your own Facebook profile. And when you look at other people's profiles, if they haven't done that, then I wouldn't friend them. I wouldn't let them into your group. Or if you let them into your group, I wouldn't expect too much, and I certainly wouldn't take it to the next level and maybe become their friend. So you want somebody, and I posted about this in my community a couple of weeks ago about being an eager socializer. You want people that have their Facebook profile basically turned on so that they want to make friends on Facebook. They want to get to know you. They want to build a relationship. Those are the people you want to let into your community, because those will be the ones that are more likely to engage. So I'm going to make a little video that I'll share with you guys when I get a chance, maybe tomorrow or during the week, just to make sure that you have your profile set, with certain settings so that people learn a little bit about you. I know a lot of people are private and they have everything set to ask me if you want to know where I live, ask me if you want to know this, ask if you want to know that. But those are people that really have not built out their profile and are very, very secretive. They're not, what we're calling, quote unquote, an eager socializer, and somebody who's probably not going to engage if you have them in your group. So you want to have all of your settings turned on so that people can find out about you, because people are probably or possibly going to do the same thing in reverse to you before they join your community. They're going to want to check you out. And if they can't find out anything about you, they may not even join your community. So you're not making your life an open book, but you're letting people in, which is what it's really all about and very important. So the other thing I was starting to say about people spamming, so yeah, definitely, if anybody spams your group, I would have zero tolerance. I would, if you want to be nice, you want to send them a private message, say that it's a no spam community, and if you pitch your link or do whatever it is that they did again, I'm going to have to remove you from the community. You can give them one warning if you want to be nice and then kick them out, or you can just have zero tolerance and kick them out right from the start. Now, I had somebody, I'm not going to mention the name here, but I'm going to send you the person's name, in our chat group, because I had somebody that I reached out to join my community the other day. I reached out to get to know him a little bit better and to introduce myself, and he took that as an open invitation, not to pitch his link, but to ask for my help in another way and to get involved if he's in another country. Financially, he needs my help to get access to his funds and all kinds of nonsense like that. And this is somebody that's going to be out of my community, and I'm going to unfriend him. So I'm going to give you his name, offline, and I want to make sure that if he's in your community or joins your community, it could even be, a hijacked profile for all I know. But that's not something good. I mean, this is somebody that's asking me to help him financially, and I don't know him from a hole in the wall. He joined my group. I haven't engaged with him. I'm a complete stranger. And I said to him, don't you have any family or friends that can help you out in this situation? Because he's in a foreign country. He told me a sob story that basically he lost his whole family and his brothers, his sisters, his mothers and father, sadly in a car accident last year. Now, my heart goes out to him. If that's true, it's devastating. It's a tragedy. But I doubt that it's true. I think that it's, some sort of a scam. So I'm going to provide his name so that if he joins your community or if he attempts to join your community, don't even let him in.
I've had things happen like with that to me already too. Um, a person named Larry, supposedly a girl, and came like private messaged me and started asking me questions. I could tell that they weren't. I checked the profile. Profile was from New York City. They had it was fake, and they didn't know how to speak. They when they wrote in my message, my messenger, I could tell that they weren't American or whatever. So I reported to Facebook, and they did determine that it was a fake account. And I've had that happen more than once. It's really strange. People just pop in your and give you messages, and they're like, "Hello, darling." It's like, darling, you're fake already. Sometimes I respond, I'm like, "I saw you on Dr. Phil. If you watch Dr. Phil, because I saw you on Dr. Phil, and I know who you are, and I know what you're doing," and then they don't come back again. Or they're like, "Oh, God bless you, God bless." It's like, yeah, whatever. Do you think I'm that dumb? But anyway, yeah, it's weird things happen.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many people on Facebook. There are millions of people. You're bound to get a few screwballs, with a couple of loose nuts and bolts into your group every now and then. So yeah, just report them to Facebook because that's something that's really, that we just can't tolerate. So it's something like that. Definitely have zero tolerance. But yeah, but
Yeah,
expect it's going to happen.
and my husband, I think there was this ding on my phone, and I guess I wasn't there. He looked on it, and he thought the name Larry, and his name's Larry, and he goes, after a couple of days, he goes, "Are you gonna leave me for someone else named Larry?" I go, "What?" I go, "No." I go, "This is ridiculous." So I told him what was going on. I guess he had told somebody at work, and the person at work said, "You better talk to your wife. You better talk to your wife." And I was like, "No." And then I showed him everything, and he's like, "Oh, okay." It was like funny. It was too much. It was like serious.
No, it definitely is, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are afraid to share too much information on Facebook because you do have a lot of crazies out there. Um, but if you're trying to build a business, one of the best places or an online presence, one of the very very best places to do that is Facebook. So you have to sort of open yourself up a little bit on Facebook, but by the same token, if you run across any of those people that you can tell pretty quickly that are a little bit crazy, just delete them as friends, unfriend them, get them out of your community, do whatever you have to disassociate with them, because it happens to all of us and it's going to continue to happen. But you just want to make sure that you just minimize your exposure to them as much as you
Right.
can.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, I'm just gonna unmute yourself for any final questions or anything that you may have, and then we're gonna call it a day because it's like I said, I wanted to try and keep it to an hour out of respect to your time, but I messed up initially with getting it started on time, so I apologize for that. So any other I guess final comments that you have to make. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of this first group session, and we certainly hopefully will for many more going forward. I'm going to try and I think I sent you a message about it. I'd like to to give us all a break also, as maybe 3 weeks consecutively and then 1 week off, that type of thing. And then at that point maybe we'll also change accountability partners for the 4th week. But we'll figure all that out and we'll work together. And any suggestions you guys have, feel free anytime to make those suggestions. And we're on a journey together. And I think it's great. And I look forward to next week and the week after that and the week after that. And it's it's small steps, but it's steady steps in the right direction. And we're all going to eventually get where we deserve to be, where we want to be. And I think that this is our small little focus group, but we're part of a bigger picture. And I think that whether it's MLSP or Gavin's community, I think that we're all in the right place at the right time. And I think that it's it's only going to benefit all of us. So that's it for me for now. So you guys, any final thoughts that you have? And if not, then we'll catch each other in our respective communities. And don't forget to go in and just post your community link when you get a chance this weekend.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Mark.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Deborah, I don't hear you. Deborah, I hardly hear you. That microphone is very low for me.
Is what? It's not good?
No, I don't hear you. Yes, I can hardly hear you, but it's okay. Where are you? Where are you staying? Where are you from, Deborah? Hello?
Yeah, we're in West Virginia.
In the States.
We're 10 West Virginia.
No, I don't know it. I'm from South Africa, so Virginia, I don't know where it is.
That's okay. You don't have to know where it's at.
Yeah.
It's a little corner of the world.
Yes, I can hear Mark and Daud, but you, I can hardly hear you.
Well, you can hear me because I have a big mouth.
I can also hear Glenda. Bye-bye.
See,
Okay.
Deb,
Bye,
you're too soft spoken, Deb. You're gonna have to shout from now on.
I'll have to shout.
No, actually, I heard you very clearly. So you were fine for me. It could also just be the, the distance, with you being in
Right.
South Africa. Glenna, were you able to hear Deborah clearly?
Yes, I heard her clearly.
Okay,
Most of the
okay.
time.
Okay, well,
Anyway,
this is great. I got a lot out of this meeting, and I'm looking forward to all the other ones.
sounds perfect. I am as well.
Okay.
Okay, guys, enjoy the rest of your day and have a great weekend. Talk to you
Okay.
soon.
All right.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.